I've had great opportunities to just explore my path and solidify what that is. And so when I say that self leadership is my passion, it's also my path, it's also a skill, it's also my value. And so that's why it's so easy to embrace and live life from self leadership. Because when you live a self led life, there's nothing else you can do but be audacious. You know,
Mhm.
I've
Mhm.
been called audacious, I've been called resilient, I've been called courageous. But it's not because you're being audacious or courageous. You're just living your life. You're
Right.
just doing one moment at a time.
Audacious Life Ever. I'm your host, Audley Stephenson, and it's always a pleasure to be here with you. And I really do appreciate you taking time out of your day to join us on this journey of discovery and empowerment. Each and every week, we dive into conversations that will help you embrace self leadership, cultivate authenticity, and navigate the challenges of life with continuous learning and adaptability. Now, I want you for a moment to think of your life as a vast river flowing through diverse landscapes. Each twist and turn represents a choice. It's a challenge or an opportunity for growth. Now, just as a river carves their own paths, so too must we embrace self-leadership to navigate the waters of our lives. This journey requires us to focus on continuous learning, adapting to the changing currents, rather than being focused on comparing ourselves to others, because that just sweeps us away and we lose sight of our mission or our journey or the path that we're on. Collaboration, much like a feeder stream joining a river, enriches our experiences and enhances our journey. Cultivating self-awareness is the key to thriving in this flowing river of life, because what that it does, it allows us to be able to understand our own currents and navigate effectively. Today, I'm totally thrilled to welcome Dr. Fredah Mainah to the podcast. She's a passionate advocate for self-leadership as well as personal growth. With a PhD in leadership and an honorary PhD in humanitarianism, Fredah has dedicated her life to empowering individuals to realize their potential. Her mission is to inspire self-leadership as a pathway to authenticity and collaboration in an interconnected world. I got to tell you, Fredah, her extensive experience in both education and coaching makes her a perfect fit for today's conversation, as we'll be really focusing on embracing our unique paths and striving together. So now that we've got the table set and you're ready to go, let's turn to our chat with Fredah. Enjoy. Hey, Fredah, thank you for joining me here today on the Audacious Living Podcast. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this, so thank you for being here.
Thank you too for inviting me and for hosting. Thank you so much. I love your energy already.
Thank you. I think well, I appreciate it. It's my energy, and I think that look, I really and I love these conversations and dialogues, and in fact, this is what charges me and gets me energized. The opportunity to you and I to partake in a conversation, and someone else has the opportunity to take something from what we say. I oftentimes joke and say, they can eavesdrop on our conversation and take something that they can use in their own lives and get to a better place. And so that's just an exciting thing to be a part of for me personally. And so that's where the energy you hear, that's where it comes from. I feel blessed to be able to do this. So again, I couldn't do this without you. So again, I thank you for joining me. Now, here on this podcast, we spend much time encouraging individuals to live that best audacious life that we talk about. And one of the key points is in recognizing that we're all on our own individual path. We're all on our own individual journey, and sometimes you'll see Tom over here and Sally going there, and they're doing things, and we're doing this comparison, and we're losing sight of our own lives and what we have in front of us. Because our path is our path, and that will come with its own set of obstacles, its own set of pitfalls, its own set of rewards. But it also comes with its own challenges as well, too, right? So it's a mix of a bunch of things, and so I think that recognition is a really key first important step And with your work in the field of self leadership and life coaching and helping individuals to get on that path, I think there's some alignment between the work you do and what we talk about here on this podcast. It totally makes sense to have you here. So maybe as a starting point, Fredah, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself to our audience, talking about the work that you do and what's got you to the point that you're at now.
Thank you so much. When I saw your podcast, The Audacious Living, I felt like it described my life and my path. And so that's why I joined. And
Thank you.
like I said, I'm Fredah, and my PhD is in leadership. I also have an honorary PhD in humanitarianism,
Okay.
which is awesome. I've had great opportunities to just explore my path and solidify what that is. And so when I say that self leadership is my passion, it's also my path. It's also a skill. It's also my value. And so that's why it's so easy to embrace and live life from self leadership. Because when you live a self led life, there's nothing else you can do but be audacious. You know,
Mhm.
I've
Mhm.
been called audacious, I've been called resilient, I've been called courageous. But it's not because you're being audacious or courageous. You're just living your life. You're
Right.
just doing one moment at a time. Those who like to do one day at a time, they're planning one day at a time. You're planning 1 month, 1 year. That's all you're doing, taking just those incremental steps
Mhm.
that make sense to you at that particular point, depending on what you're doing.
Right.
And I
Right.
discovered that a
Mhm.
little bit early in life. I
Okay.
must have been in my senior primary school. And that's when I started to realize that when I chose to study a certain subject that I liked, I did very well.
Mhm.
And I was awarded for that. Then I got to high school, and it was like now I even had the opportunity to select certain subjects to major in. And I did that. And I started realizing that whatever it was that I did from a self led place, I excelled because there was nobody else to compete with but me. There was nobody else to motivate me but me. And so that now became my style of navigating life. And it also helped me, widen my worldview
Yes.
because I was selecting what I wanted to learn. And so my favorite books became the dictionary and the atlas. Most people right now don't even know what a dictionary is or what an atlas is. But if you wanted to know, the world, you
Yes.
use an atlas and it's like a globe and it gave you the whole world.
Yes.
And I kept
Yes.
feeling, oh, maybe I would like to travel to this point. Maybe I'd like to travel to this place. I did not know it would happen. But because I was self led, I did not doubt it either. And so I became self led in that way. By the time I was now going to college, I'd already selected the English to be my major because I knew I was going to be going to international places and I
Okay.
needed English because at that particular point, I had three choices: English, French, or German.
Okay.
But English looked more global than the rest, so I chose English.
Okay.
And so I studied English, I taught English, and so I started to understand how people think, how, history and literature and culture and anthropology and cultural beliefs and systems and how they connect just by reading literature because you can tell what someone is passionate about through what they write, the stories they tell. And then
Yes.
I realized, oh, I have stories to tell too. And so I knew in my lessons, then I had to tell some stories because we were studying literature and telling stories, but we could create our own literature by
Yes.
creating our own stories. So I encourage my students to write stories, to write poetry, to write drama, and we would act it out and win awards for that. And so I kept noticing that trend that whatever I was doing that I had chosen to do, I had the motivation to do.
Yes.
I
Yes.
excelled in it. And my students excelled as well. And
Yeah.
even today, my students still follow me on Facebook and other social media because they remember.
Yes. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
created memories. And I try to do the same with my children. I have two, and extended because of their partners and children. And
Yes.
so, because of that, my children are also successful because they saw from me that, oh, wow, this is something one can do. I can choose what I want to do. I can choose how I want to do it. I can choose how I show up, and
Yes.
this can be success. And so my definition of success also is different from other people,
Okay.
because I'm not comparing myself with other people. I'm
Right.
comparing myself with me, and looking at, okay, so I want to achieve 100%, but I'm at 60. What do I need to do to get there?
Yes.
Then
Yes.
I came to the US in 2010, and I decided to do the same thing. And I chose to, first of all, follow what I was already good at. So, being a teacher, it was easy to transition to being a professor. I taught high school. Now I could follow them to college. And so I taught part time at a university.
Hmm.
And there I followed again what were other professors doing. I didn't care that I was part time. I wanted to know, if I'm a professor, what is it? How am I supposed to show up at a university? And so I started researching, I started writing, I started getting awards for being excellent in teaching and research. And it was like, oh, wow, this is great. What else can I do? And so I decided to be a federal officer. I went to federal office and I worked there, and it is like,
Okay.
what else can I do? But
Yes.
as I was navigating all that, I was also crafting my art of coaching, because when you're a teacher and your students grow and become adults, now they
Hmm.
don't want to be taught, now they want to be coached
Right.
and
Yes.
mentored. So
Yes.
that's what I wanted to be. And so I thought, what is the best, you know, skill that I can coach and mentor them on? And
Yes.
it was, of course, self-leadership, because that is what had worked for me. And I didn't want to tell stories that were not authentic. I didn't
Yes.
want to appear or, show up in a space without authenticity. So self-leadership was just very easy to do. Yes.
It's, as yeah, and thank you for sharing your story, and as you're talking just your experiences and growing up, there's so much of what you said resonates with me. Particularly around your when you're the self leadership pieces around the things in school that you were interested in, so focusing on things that you liked and and you saw how you excelled. I think the difference with myself is I didn't realize that early on. It took me quite some time to get to that point where I was like, oh, wait a second, this stuff I do well in, I actually like it, right? So it took me a while. And many times I thought, man, if I'd realized this a lot sooner, right? I would have, yeah. But you can't. I'm not sort of discounting my experiences because they still fed into who I was and where I am today. But it was very key. I'm sort of like a eureka. I'm like, oh my gosh, aha, yes, I am doing well at this because I like it, and so I sort of continued to sort of to sort of continue on that path of staying close to the things that I'm passionate about, staying close to the things that I enjoy, staying close to things that inspire me, because I feel that is my sweet spot, so to speak. And so that was something that resonated. And the other piece that I thought was also interesting was just around what times what individuals feel audacious is. Um, Many will think is these big grandiose acts of wonderful things, climbing mountains, jumping out of planes, doing saving babies or in the hospital and fires or whatever, all kinds of these big things that people think that they are, but it's they're not. They are those small, as you mentioned, incremental steps that we take one foot in front of the other, day after day after day after day, and because you're living true to who you are. And again, so it doesn't have to be these big things. They could be simple, small, significant, because they still could be significant regardless of their size, and still have an impact on you, and not only your life, but the people around you as you're discovering as a mentor to past students.
And you're right, because the problem of comparing yourself with others, and that's why we keep saying, stop, living and with, like the Joneses, live your life, and you're going to fall in love with your life. But as long as you keep comparing it to other people for negative reasons, because you can compare for positive reasons,
Mm-hmm.
because we are social human beings. And, like now we are having this vibe because you love, audacious living. I love audacious living. So we are not comparing, we're just sharing. But people compare instead of sharing. And when you compare, you're always going to feel lower than the other person and see the other person as greater than you. And that creates a negative vibe. But when you look at it as sharing, then it is collaboration. And so there is no negative vibe. It is just living. And it's neither positive nor negative.
No.
No, it is you're doing your thing, I'm doing my thing. Like the rivers. The rivers just flow to the ocean.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
They're not
100%.
competing.
That's right.
There's a point where they sound like they're going very fast, but it's not because of competition. They're just navigating their life, all of them to the ocean. Interestingly, when they get to the ocean, which river do you know when you go to the beach?
They're all, they don't know, right? You don't know. There's no
It's
way of
just
knowing.
water. It ends up just being water that we enjoy at the beach. We don't sit there wondering, oh, which river is this?
No,
Which river?
it's
Or
not.
where did this water come from?
No.
No. So it's the
Yeah.
same thing when you're in the flow. When you're in the flow and you're living your life, other people who are in the flow with you will be in your life as well.
Sure. Sure.
Just
Sure.
like rivers. This river comes and joins with this river and they
Yes.
flow together.
Yes.
And it's the
Yeah.
same thing with life.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it really is a powerful analogy. It's a great one because it allows you to understand there's a direction that we're all going in. And that comparison can be such a killer because you're looking at what someone's doing like, oh my gosh, they've achieved this. I want to do this. So now I'm going to become an architect. And you can't draw, for example, right? Like that's not meant for you. And so it's understanding, okay, that's what that person's doing. Now, I think it's important to be able, I want to underscore, is not to say that we can't see aspects or elements of what
Yeah.
people are doing that's helping themselves. And so maybe, okay, they're doing that, and every time they ran into this kind of obstacle, here's how they attack that problem. That strategy they use, what if I incorporate that strategy on my pathway? Right? How can that help me? So there's nothing. So it's such a fine line. Like we don't want to you want to look, but you don't want to replicate or try to copy because that's their life and there's yours. But there are aspects that you can use for yourself. Is that fair to say it?
Very fair, because we are all on this one big path,
Yes.
all of us. This one big path, just like being on the highway. So you're driving, and there's so many cars. Like if you live in Texas, Houston has a road at one point where it has like 24 lanes. But it doesn't mean that we are not all going the same direction. We are
Right.
going the same direction. But if you're going the same direction, I'm in my car, you're in your car, you're in your lane, I'm in my lane. And and there is so much functionality, there is so much smooth traffic moving. We are not causing any problems at all.
Right. Right.
If anything, when it is humans, when we bring our ideas together, we create this beautiful forest of ideas.
Mm.
So, like trees, they coexist, they communicate, they know where the water is, and they tap their roots, and they never care that they're going to finish the water for each other. It doesn't matter to them. They are living their life. They know there's going to be enough for everyone, and they just exist. So if we copy nature and see how, there's no need for competition, we just coexist peacefully, there's going to be enough for everyone. But as long as we keep thinking, oh, so and so is doing better than me, or they're going to finish this resource for me, therefore when I find it, I'm going to hold and hide it so that nobody else knows it exists. It doesn't work like that. In perfect nature, it doesn't work like that. And as humans and part of this nature, we should be blending in, not trying to uh, not trying to like feel like we're the ones who are extraordinary more than someone else or more than another part of creation.
Mhm.
Not at all.
Right.
That's where incongruence starts happening, because we start to realize, oh, that is not really correct. That
Mhm.
position I held was not really correct. That position that my friend holds is really not correct. But because we have not been brought up to think critically, we are not even able to give each other feedback that
Right.
Oh, I love what you're doing. Really, Audley, I do love what you're doing. Instead, I'd rather come and plagiarize yours so that I can look good, rather than us cooperating like this and
Right.
creating something even bigger than ourselves.
Right, right. No,
Yes.
and I think that's so appropriate. We have a what's called a bold framework that we've developed here on this podcast, and it's really the bold framework is acronym BOLD, and it's really designed about helping you live your best audacious life. And the B in that framework stands for better than yesterday, and I think you've touched on that beautifully with respects to that constant improvement and being in competition only with yourself and no one else. So you climb that mountain today, and that's fantastic. And I wish and hope that you celebrate that achievement. But that was yesterday's achievement. What mountain are you going to climb tomorrow? So a constant sort of self improvement is that built into that. The O in that framework stands for outlast adversity, and this is a full recognition that on our pathway we're going to have challenges, we're going to have obstacles. It's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult. But the onus is on us is still going to outlast that adversity, get to the other side, because that's where true greatness lies. The L in that framework very much stands for live your truth. It's tied into authenticity, right? It's got to, again, we've been talking about pathway, right? It's got to be your path. You got to stay on that path to get to where you need to be. And then the D in that framework stands for disrupt the norm, which is very much going off. So the crowd is going here. You're going in a different direction because that, and again, it's got to be a direction meant for you. But going on that same path that everyone else is doing is not going to help you to be more audacious. It's got to be your individual path, your individual steps. And so those are sort of encompass the bold framework. And I bring that up because so much of what we've talked about it's encompassed in all of that. I hear it loud and clear, and I feel that it really can lead to that pathway. And I want to sort of talk about confidence as well, because if you're living who you're supposed to be, you're doing things you're meant to, you're taking those risks, you're taking those chances. These things help build your confidence as well as your resiliency, right?
And you're correct. Because number one, when you're talking about a path, I speak from higher education. And so kind of that is my area of where I tap my experience and knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about a first year student. They come in and they're given gen ed courses. They don't even know which course to take, but they know that if they follow what their counselor is telling them, they will find their path. They will find their major, they will find their minor, and eventually they will use those skills either for a career or just for living. And then when we're talking about a path, we all are kind of designed for certain things.
Mm-hmm.
But because we are such uh, lifelong learners, even when we are not conscious about it, we we always learn different things. So you might take that degree, or you might take that course, or you might take that path, and then along the way you realize, oh, I can also take this path, and I can explore this one, and I can explore this one, and then before you know it, like the rivers we were talking about,
Yeah.
you're in the flow, and then you realize, oh, all these other little paths that I took were not distractions at all. They were meant to help me understand my path, my passion, and be so clear about it. Because, like you were talking about the architect. So
Mm.
I might look at an architect and think, I want to learn some architecture, but I'm not good at this and that, which is fine, because maybe you're getting attracted to architecture because there's some symbols that relate to your path,
Right.
or
Yep.
there's some styles that relate to your path. And when you look at architecture, it has a lot of math, but most of us don't think that we are good at math. And yet we are all very good at math, because I don't have to do the calculations Albert Einstein was doing, but I can benefit from it. Or
Right.
I can actually now understand the world better by simply understanding what Albert Einstein was all about, or the
Right.
best architects, what they are all about. Or I can appreciate the aesthetics of my house because an architect did it, you know? I don't even have to do it. I don't even have to know how it's done, but I can appreciate and I
Right.
can say thank you to all the architects because now I have a home to live in. Or I can go to a park or an arboretum and it's like, oh, no, this is not just gardening. There is
Right.
design in it.
Right. Right.
So,
Right. Right.
so you are able to appreciate the diversity and the multiplicity of life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I, I, I also very much like and appreciate the fact that, particularly in this day and age, where if there's something that you don't know or don't understand, there's a resource where to learn. Not that you have to be a master of it because you don't,
No.
right? So let's use architect for example again. Like so, math is involved. There's resources that can help you to shore up those or strengthen those strengths, if you will, to allow you to gain that skill or gain that insight. And no one is saying that you've got to go out and be the mathematician. That's not what it is. But there's resources, especially in this day and age, and the advent of AI can answer any question that you want, for example, or other resources out there. It just makes it a lot more easy to acquire information to help you on that journey.
And I'm glad you brought up AI
Mm-hmm.
because AI is starting to help us realize that we are not just this one thing. Because in the 30s and the 20s and the 30s and 40s, you were meant to just be on this one track.
Right.
And we were so narrow-minded that if I became a teacher, that's all I was going to do. And I was going to teach in that school until I retire. These days, there's even no retirement. We just transition to other things because,
Right.
again, medical research has helped us overcome some of the diseases of the 20s and 30s and
Yes.
40s. And so we
Yes.
are living longer. So those days when it came to retirement, I remember in my career when I began, retirement age was 55.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine a 55-year-old being told that they're retired and they have nothing else to go back to.
Right.
So that is why even mortality rate was so high because so low because people are dying at after retirement. 60
Right.
people are dying
Yep. Yep.
because they have no passion, they have nothing to look forward
The
to.
purpose is gone.
But like you said about AI has opened our mind to see I can be much more than just this.
Yeah.
Take my case, for example. So I started off as a teacher, teaching on a blackboard and white chalk with
Okay.
dust.
Okay.
But then technology came and I started transitioning to doing PowerPoint. And then now from there, I wasn't even doing PowerPoint. I would go to class and my students have their laptops and they have their phones and we are doing research together and
Mm.
creating the PowerPoint together.
Mm. Wow.
So instead of telling them, oh, keep your phones away or keep your laptops away, I told them to bring those resources to class
Yes.
because
Yes.
those were the new technologies we were
Yes.
using for learning. And
Yeah.
then as we were doing that, we started realizing there's something called social media. And then I asked them, okay, now let's adopt social media and solve world problems. What world problems can we solve using social media? And now we have AI. My students used to really struggle having to navigate from the library, teacher, what article should I choose? What
Yes.
book should I read?
Yes.
Now it's so easy. Just type your question and AI will tell you even what book to read, what article
Mhm.
to
Yeah.
read,
Yeah.
how to put it all together. So, yes, I know there are people who might be looking at AI like it's taking our jobs. So did we think when industrial revolution came
Sure.
that it was
Sure.
going to take our jobs? What
Sure.
people don't realize when they're not prepared is that every technological evolution comes with new jobs.
Correct.
All we
Correct.
need to do is prepare ourselves for that, future. But as
Yes.
long as you're looking back, you will not be prepared for the future.
Yes.
But
Well,
if you
well,
see,
I joke because once upon a time, our society we traveled by horse and carriage or horse and buggy before the cars, right?
yeah,
And there was a job of someone to go around and clean up the horse manure, right? That was someone's job, right?
right,
That technology eliminated that job, right? And that
right.
it's no longer there. But there's new advancements and new opportunities. And so, that person who had that job cleaning up manure, maybe they were upset that they lost their job. or maybe they're happy. I don't know, but I mean, the fact is, it's changed and has become something more. To your point, and when we talk about AI and what that has done, and it's really about, and I think that really speaks to the importance of being adaptability and being flexible at the time at the right times.
Yeah. And apart from that, being forward looking, and then not defining yourself with limitations and fear.
Yes.
If you get out of that box of fear and limitations, the possibilities are endless. Even within your lane, the
Yeah.
possibilities are endless. I like the highway. So the possibilities of many exits are many. It
Yeah.
depends on where you're going, and you can take the right exit. But there are so
That's right.
many exits,
Yes.
you know?
Yes. Yes.
So the same thing with life. The possibilities are endless. The potential in us is also endless because we are made of energy, and energy just reinvents itself. It
Yeah.
never, gets destroyed.
Yeah.
And so if you feel that this path is not serving you, shift to the lane.
Right.
Just a shift in your mindset. And before you know it, you're in a lane that makes you happy. And then
Right.
the other thing that I'd like to speak about when it comes to self leadership is don't get into this mindset that this is me, this is my definition.
Okay.
No, don't define yourself from fear and limitation. Live free. When you're free and in the flow, you can be whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
And like the seasons,
Mm-hmm.
you can be whatever you want this season, and you can be whatever you want the
Sure.
next season.
Sure.
You don't
Sure.
have to be stuck in winter. I lived in Michigan, so I know
Okay.
how it is to be caught in a blizzard. I
Yes.
don't want to live in that all the
Right.
time, but I enjoyed it while it lasted. Then
Yes.
it was like time to pack my bags. I want somewhere warm. So I moved to somewhere warmer. And then it's like, oh my gosh, these summers can be hot. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to another opportunity. And now focus on the keyword opportunity. Anytime change comes, don't look at it as something negative. Look at it
Right.
as an opportunity. Anytime a challenge comes in your way of the
Mm-hmm.
path that you're pursuing,
Mm-hmm.
don't look at it as a challenge. It's an opportunity. When people look at problems, people are billionaires because they saw a problem and looked for a solution for it.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
the attitude, that's the mindset that everybody should have. That
Mm-hmm.
whatever challenge comes into your life, whatever problem comes into your life, sit on it like a project manager, and it is like, okay, what needs to get done here?
Right.
Rather than, oh my gosh, now what do I do? Oh, I'm going to die. No, headlong, look at it as a problem and do the one thing that will be fast to be done on a
Sure.
project.
Yeah. That's
Look
right.
at it, analyze it, list all the things that need to be done, and then just start with the one thing that is the first thing to be done. Don't think that you can solve that one problem all at once.
No.
I keep
No. No.
telling, I keep telling my grandbaby, you can't gobble all your food in one bite.
That's right.
You
That's right.
can't. It goes a spoon at a time. It goes, if it is on the bottle, it goes, one swallow at a time.
That's right. That's
So
right.
when you
That's
look
right.
at a problem, look at it the same way. Food on
Yes.
your plate, you can't gobble it all at once.
That's right. That's right.
Spoonful at a time.
What's that expression? How to eat an elephant one bite at a time, right? It's the same concept. And so I think
Yes,
that's another great example.
right.
Frida, I want to ask specifically, how does self leadership allow us to thrive in our lives?
Well, apart from the fact that it motivates you because it is self-selected, self-directed, self-determined. And when you're self-determined, it's like, playing a game. You have chosen it. It has also chosen you. So you're already together. So
Hmm.
it's already motivating in the fact that this is something I want to do. This is something I have chosen for myself to do.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
not, it's not like mandatory training where it's someone deciding this is the training you need to take. And so you're taking it because it is mandatory.
Right.
But when it is something you have chosen for yourself, just like in a restaurant, you go in there and you select what you want to eat and you enjoy it. The other person next to you might not enjoy what you're eating, but you're enjoying it because you chose it. And so Self-leadership in itself, especially when you adopt it as a skill and as a value, it increases your authenticity. It increases, like you said earlier, your confidence. It increases your self-knowledge. And once you know yourself, there's nobody else who's going to cause you to doubt yourself.
Right.
And
Right.
that's the foundation of self-knowledge, self-exploration, self-knowledge, self-awareness. And it's not being selfish at all.
Right.
Because once you know yourself, you're going to show up for other people even much better. You're
Mhm.
going to help this world even much better because you're coming from a place of, I know who and what I am. I know what I can do. I am confident I can do this, you know?
Right. Was again working to your strengths. I spent I spent a lot of time in the world of sports, in the basketball world, as an example, the pro level, and every team they've got their rebounder, they've got their 3-point shooter, they've got their point guard, they've got their defender, and each plays a specific role on the overall team. Well, that individual, the 3-point shooter. If they know they're a shooter and that's their job, if they decide that no, I want to be, a point guard instead, and that's not their strength. They're working outside of alignment. Again, not to say you can't do aspects of it, but if you're being true to who you are and what your role is, then that's what you can perform better. And by performing better, you're helping everyone else, and that's where the thriving comes from. Um, yeah,
And that's perfect because, again, when you're a self leader,
yeah,
you know what teamwork can do. And so you can play any part on that basketball court,
that's right.
any part that you want, and you're good at any part. Very good. However, now we are playing as a team.
Yes,
So we selected you to play a certain point
yes,
because this is team effort. Now you're not trying to shine on your own. We're shining as a team. We're shining as a human race. But
yes,
as long as a human race, we still keep feeling that the leadership style. And that's why I emphasize self-leadership. Because like I told you, my PhD is in leadership. So I
yes,
know we want to have this pyramid where only one person excels and becomes the leader. And
mhm,
then it percolates even onto the team. And now
yes,
everybody wants, to wiggle their way to the top to shine. And we have forgotten what self-leadership is. Self-leadership is about collaboration. I know my strengths. I appreciate your strengths. Let's put everything together. Like when you're making a pie or a cake, especially a marble cake, you can't you can just focus on one ingredient. You won't get a cake. You won't
yes,
get a pie. So when you focus on what everyone is bringing to the team, what everyone is bringing to the organization, what everybody is bringing to the table, then teamwork becomes self-leadership
mhm,
because we are respecting and appreciating each one of us and what everyone brings to the table. But when we remember leadership styles of, hundreds of years ago, and that's
mhm.
what we still want to embrace, then we are in trouble.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, agreed. So okay then, Frida, what is the starting point, right? So yeah, we've got listeners out there who are taking in this conversation, and maybe there's some enlightenment going on, or some awareness that's being raised, and they say, okay, so I want to improve my, my ability to lead myself and be a better self leader. What is the starting point?
Starting point, like any lesson that one wants to learn, is simply learning. But what am I learning this time? Can you imagine? Everybody loves themselves, hopefully,
Yes,
right?
yes,
I know your audience knows that. So you love yourself. If you love yourself, then you're the best project that you will ever have.
yeah,
So the first place, start by learning yourself.
yes,
And we've already been doing that, but unconsciously. So now do it consciously. We have gone to school, so we have learned all the biology. We know our physical. We know even from rhymes, head, shoulder, knees and toes. We know
mhm,
that. But now go a step further and now learn how all those parts function. you're not going into becoming a master of it. You're just getting, some basic knowledge of
Right.
understanding yourself and then understanding how all those functions. But especially, how does breath, you know, we are all the same humans. The nose is right there, it's not going to change, and it's
Right.
for breathing. Because once you focus on breathing, that's when you realize how it helps your intellect, how it helps your health, how it
Mhm.
helps your mind, how it helps your learning, how it helps your coordination, how it helps your lungs, everything. And then start with your sight. Whatever
Yes.
you see, you cannot smell. Whatever you smell, it's because maybe you saw it.
Right.
And it's not everything that smells good is good for tasting,
Right.
you know? And then not everything you swallow is good for your digestion. So once you start understanding, oh, so that's me,
Yes.
then you start now understanding your emotions. And then it's like, oh, I saw something. Why did it affect my emotions?
Hmm.
I smelled something. Why did it affect my emotions? I said something or someone said something to me. Why did it affect my emotions? And then it's like, what is the connection? Then you realize, voila, I am energy. And it's just the waves that are affecting me. So I am not my thought. I am not my emotion. So what am I? And then you start, when we are talking like this all day, it's because we are vibing. Then you start
Yes.
to realize, oh,
Yep.
I'm a vibration.
Mm.
It's because someone vibrated at a certain frequency that didn't resonate with me. That's why I felt that emotion.
Right. Right.
Oh, so emotion is separate from me. Oh, that's why I had that thought. So that thought is different from me. It's not me. But it informs how I show up every day.
Right.
But once you understand yourself beyond identity,
Hmm.
because we've been focusing so much on identity. Oh, I am Frida. That's why you are asking me, do I call you Dr. Frida or do I just call you Frida?
Right. Right.
Because that's what we've been focusing on.
Yes.
Nobody ever asks you, what energy are you vibing on today?
No. No.
No. But immediately we started this conversation, we started to realize and feel that, oh, this is good vibe,
Yes, yes,
you
yes.
know?
And it does something
Yeah,
to you, right? Like it does something to you that you feel that good energy and you feel the charge and you start to get and your mood is better and the atmosphere gets better and you feel lighter and there's good energy and I always said that is such a wonderful place to operate from because that's where our most creative selves, we're most I get the best ideas in these zones and I think there's things ideas and things that come up I'm like where'd that come from? But it's coming from this space that I'm within, and I think that's the goal. For I used to, so when I recognize that, it's like, okay, how do I put myself in those spaces? And it's no different than where you found as a young child where you operated best in the things that you were interested in learning about. It's the same concept or idea.
right. And, but then when it comes to how we grow up in our tribes and our communities, that doesn't come out even in conversations. And
Hmm.
that's why I decided, this is this is what is critical, and therefore I'm going to always include it in my conversations. Because
Yes.
once we stop looking just at the outside, it's like a cup. Who is interested in the cup? You're interested in the coffee. You're interested in the content of
Yeah.
of the cup
Yes.
or the glass. It don't matter what it looks like. Some people will focus so much on, oh, this cup is not beautiful, but it's the content that
That's
you're
it.
interested in.
Right.
Same case to this being here. It's, as much as this container is important because it holds my essence, it holds who I am
Hmm.
and what I am, it's not the end of the story.
No.
It's just
No.
the beginning of the
Beginning.
story.
That's right.
And when you
Because of the
write a story,
possibilities of what you can do.
exactly. And when you write a story, there is the beginning, then there is the body of it, then there's the conclusion. You can't be stuck at the introduction. What if in this conversation we got stuck at introduction? Oh, I'm Frida. Oh, I'm Audley. Okay, I'm Frida. Okay, I'm Audley. We can't get stuck there.
Right. We got to move beyond it.
We
Yes.
have to develop like we did, and we kept
Yes.
developing, and here we
Yes.
are. And by the time we are concluding, we'll actually still be in the main part of the story. And it's like, maybe we need to continue this conversation,
That's right.
you know,
That's right. That's right. That's
some
right.
more
Well,
later on, because that's what life is.
yeah.
Life is not at the introduction. There's so much more to
Yep.
learn.
That's right.
And if you don't learn and you only look at this introduction, because that's what most people will judge you by. They look at you and it is like, oh, this is, black young man. Or what has black even got to do with it? First and foremost, I'm just
Right.
human.
Right.
I may have been burnt by the sun a little bit more and so became dark.
Sure.
But that is for science to deal
That's
with,
right. That's right.
not
It's
for
got
this
no
conversation.
impact. The fact it doesn't change. I'm still a human being just like you.
Right. And so then when we go beyond that, then now I can sense your vibe. Now I can hear your message. But you won't hear my message if you're, or you will, so you get a gift and it's so beautifully wrapped and you're stuck on the wrapping, you will never get to the gift. You'll
Understood.
never get to the gift. So unwrap it and forget about the wrapping. Get to the gift. Forget about the box that
Right.
people are putting you in. So I refuse to be judged by the box people are putting me in. I ripped it off a long time ago. So
Hmm.
I'm focusing on me and not in a selfish way because I want to show up the best version of me.
Right.
How can I do that if I'm not improving myself every day?
Exactly.
Or if I'm
Exactly.
not learning something new every day?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
No, I agree wholeheartedly, and I think it's so important. Particularly that learning piece is so significant and key. And Frida, I've got to say, I've really enjoyed this conversation immensely, and I think the topic of self leadership is an important one. I'm not sure if it's talked about enough. I think maybe it's thought of as an afterthought, but it is very, very important because what it actually does is sort of set the stage for all sorts of great things to follow, right? Once you can lead yourself and know yourself and know your strengths, know your weaknesses, your passions, you go through all that whole, that self assessment, if you will. And once you have all those things figured out, you now can chart and plot where you fit, in the world. And so, thank you for those insights that you've raised today.
Yes. And I like what you just said. That way, you can actually identify the people that will become your resource or
Yeah,
your support group or your community because now you know what you need. Now you know yourself, you know your strength, and so you can tap to another strength. You know the opportunities that you want to explore, and you can join people who are exploring the same. Like mountain climbers. Nobody
hmm,
wants to climb a mountain alone. They
right.
always go to the base of the mountain and have a boot camp there, and then they climb together. So the same thing in life, collaboration. And that's why self-leadership is key, especially in these days of AI. We need
Yeah,
self-leadership because collaboration is going to be key.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
For listeners that wanted to connect with you, Frida, or learn more about your work, where could we send them?
Well, if you go to social media and just type my name, Fredah, and Mainah, Mainah, a lot of me is there on social
Okay.
media. You'll be able to find me. Whether it's on LinkedIn, I'm there, Facebook, I'm there, YouTube, I have my channel. Just type
Right.
Fredah, it will show up. And then I have a website. If you
Hmm.
type Rainbow Honor Sanctuary,
Okay.
Rainbow Honor with a dash between rainbow and honor. Honor is my native language, which means vision. So, like I was saying about collaboration, rainbow is that collaboration of all those, diverse aspects of the human being. And honor is vision. And then sanctuary. And our sanctuary is a physical place. This is where I am right now.
Hmm.
So we have the virtual school and we have the physical school. So,
Amazing,
yeah.
amazing. What we'll do is we'll make sure that the all the appropriate contact details will be in the show notes for listeners that want to connect with you directly. Again, Frida, this has been very, very enlightening and very, very informative. Thank you for sharing and thank you for being a guest today on the Audacious Living Podcast.
Thank you. And I don't want to forget, my books are on Amazon.
Yes,
Again, the same name, type it on Amazon, you'll find my books.
amazing, amazing. Well, again, we'll make sure they're there. I encourage listeners to
Yeah.
check them out. Thanks,
All right.
Fredah.
Thank you so much. Thank you for this opportunity to talk to the world.
Amazing.
Uh,
Back we are here on the podcast, and much thanks and appreciation goes out to Fredah for being here. During our chat, we explored the profound impact of self-leadership in achieving personal growth and authenticity. Fredah emphasized that being self-directed allows us to flourish, enabling us to turn challenges into opportunities rather than see them as obstacles. I especially loved her analogy of the rivers flowing together, because what that did is really highlighted that when we focus on collaboration instead of comparison, we can create a beautiful tapestry of shared experiences as well as success. Now, if you resonate with Fredah's insights and would like to connect with her directly, certainly contact her through the show notes below. We've got her details there. She's on all sorts of social media platforms as well as her website, where there are other resources that she offers for personal growth and coaching. And if that's not enough, she's also authored several books that you can find on Amazon, many of them which delve deeper into her philosophy of self-leadership. I want to thank you for joining us on this episode of the Audacious Living Podcast. If you've enjoyed the conversation today, then I would encourage you to please follow, or share this podcast to help grow our community of audacious individuals. Remember, just like rivers flowing together, your support helps us to create a powerful stream of inspiration and empowerment for others. So let's continue to embrace our unique paths, collaborate, and thrive as we navigate the waters of life. Until next time, stay safe, be kind, show love to one another, and be audacious.